please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
To those guests who've just joined us, welcome. Our next stop is the Magic Kingdom. For those of you standing, please hold on to the handrails throughout our journey and stay clear of the doors. Stay clear of the doors. Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching our station at the entrance to Main Street, USA.
Welcome aboard the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. This is Justin Monorail, and this is episode number 244 of the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. Today's Monday, March the 24th, 2025, and man, oh man, I can't believe this month is almost over. It's crazy, but you know what that means? We're a week and a day away from living with the Landon. A very big event that we've been building up to for months, and we can't wait to get to it. But you know what? I want to talk about it with the star of the show, the one who created this whole fundraising effort, and the guy who's turning 40 on that special day. Let's welcome him in. It's Landon the Doane. Landon, welcome to the Monorail. How you doing, buddy? You're almost old.
Wow, that's mean. Hi, everybody. Coming in from the isolation station. Love, it's me. It's the DOZ, Landon the Doane, and it's, thank you, Zoe, a Monday morning, and you know what that means. Yes, we are 8 days if you're listening to the day this episode drops of my 40th birthday, and I guess more importantly for you, the lovely listener, we are 8 days away from living with the Landon, where I will be marathon riding Living with the Land at Epcot in an effort to raise money for Second Harvest Food Bank of East Tennessee, in particular their Food for Kids program, and more importantly for you, the lovely listener, we are 8 days away from you never having to hear me plug this again. So there is that. Everybody wins in this situation, but oh my God, I can't believe this is almost here. Yeah. And oh my God, I can't believe I may actually pull this off.
You're going to pull it off. We're going to do it together, but you have been our fearless leader in this whole fundraising
that's
event.
Terrifying. Don't say that. Do not say that.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great weekend. We're kicking things off on Sunday with a little welcome event, happy hour for those of our friends that can make it out, our fellow Monday Morning Monorail family members. Don't forget, you can join us at Disney Springs CityWorks. I think we're doing 4 to 6 is what we've decided. 4 to 6 p.m. Come and go as you please. CityWorks over in Disney Springs. That, if you're not familiar, it's over near Cirque du Soleil, across from House of Blues. And yeah, we're gonna hang out there. There may be some special guests, including the Smoking Hot Girlfriend. Both Smoking Hot Girlfriends. I know I can't appropriate that term, but
yeah. Are you gonna come up with a fun moniker for your special lady?
What's funny is we were in an Uber going out on Friday, and our Uber driver, I think, was like moonlighting as a stand-up comedian, because luckily it was only like a 10-minute ride, but he asked the question in the middle of his stand-up act if we had nicknames for each other, and we really don't. Like, we just call each other our names.
Okay, like adults.
Yeah, other than fair. We do the sweetie, babe, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I do need to think about that. It's interesting. There's certain things I call her that I don't want to say on the show. No, I'm just kidding.
Also fair. But going back to your rideshare driver who was apparently working on his stand-up act. When you're in a rideshare, what is your preference when it comes to the talkative nature of your driver? Do you want them to just be interactive, be friendly? Do you want them to just shut up and drive? Do you want Jerry Seinfeld, in your instance, to be driving you around asking, what is the deal about blank?
Yeah. Well, we're in an age now where you can put on your profile your preferences. And I think my preference is set to quiet ride. Obviously, this guy did not care for that preference. But
they think they want a quiet ride. But wait till I tell them my opinion of airplane food.
I don't mind being friendly, and I'm going to be friendly. Of course, I'm going to be friendly. I mean, and I try to be very polite. I try to be very appreciative of my Uber driver. They're just out there trying to make a living. I don't want to make their life hard, but also I don't want the pressure of keeping up a conversation with a
Yeah.
stranger.
Hmm.
That's the thing that I feel like, because when I get in the car, I'm more than likely going to be like just looking at my phone. First of all, making sure we're on track on the Uber ride and we're not.
Always do that. Yes.
Yeah.
Always do that.
So I'm looking at that, probably like catching the news, texting my friend, whatever it may be. But like, yeah, I just don't. I tend to be, I always say I'm an introverted extrovert. I can interact with people. I love
Mm.
having fun. I love conversating, but a lot of times I do need that like recovery, let my social battery recharge kind of quiet time as well. And so for me, a ride share situation is a time of quiet reflection.
Oh, I get that. I 1000% get that. You talk about feeling like you have the onus, as it were, to carry a conversation.
Yeah.
That can be a heavy cross to carry, so to speak, especially in a long
Yeah.
ride, like maybe from MCO to your resort.
Right.
It's like I have been in some very long, awkward, painful conversations with drivers who will tell me their entire life story. And
Oh yeah.
I do not want to know the bloody details on that.
That's usually what it
Oh,
is. You usually get to hear everything that's on their mind, you know.
yeah.
Um,
And boy, I have heard some very interesting opinions about the lead up to last year's presidential election
Sure.
from Florida Lyft drivers. Let me tell you.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, I will say I've still got a 5-star rating as a rider on Uber. I want to maintain that. And I'm somewhat surprised because there have been some nights out drinking where I'm trying to be responsible and use rideshare rather than driving, where I have maybe been hard for the person to find because I didn't know where I was. And so so the fact that I've still got that 5-star rating, I'm clinging to that. I must be a pretty good passenger.
Well,
So,
good job by you for maintaining that 5-star review.
yeah.
And speaking of 5-star reviews, if you haven't left this fine podcast a 5-star review, we invite you to head to wherever you get your fine podcast and leave us a 5-star review. That helps the algorithm, so to speak.
We could use them. Yeah. You tend to only really review things when you're like upset about something. This comes to like restaurant reviews or hotel reviews, things like that. People love to fill out comment cards when they're mad. But let me just tell you, it means a lot to us when you leave a review because you're enjoying the show and you want to recommend it to others. It helps people find us. And we really do appreciate that. So thank you if you've done that already. But we would love it if you're a newer listener and you're enjoying the show. Leave us a review. We'd love to hear it. Well, Landon, before we get into the show, we're talking about leaving reviews, giving people recommendations of things. There's something I'd like to recommend to our listening family out there, and that is our affiliate, Vacation Grocery Delivery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a company that's decided to partner up with us. You know why? Because they know we're a winning team and they want to be part of it. And we know they're a winning team and we want to be part of that. If you're not familiar with this service, what they do is they can go grocery shopping for you and then deliver it to your resort. Say you're coming to Walt Disney World, you're bringing the family, and maybe you're staying in a DVC room that has a little kitchenette. Maybe you're not. All the rooms you're going to stay in have a little mini fridge, and you're looking for ways to save some dollars. Because who isn't trying to save money on their Walt Disney World vacation?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the biggest ways that you can cut into that expensive trip is cutting down your food budget. And by working with a company like Vacation Grocery Delivery, you can get your breakfast, maybe even some lunch, some snacks, things to take into the parks so you don't have to drop all your Disney dollary dues on food. You can save it for maybe a big meal or souvenirs. Everybody wants to take home the big plushies. So here's a way you can do that. Go to vacationgrocerydeliveryfl.com and you can fill out a order for groceries and also magical extras, which include some other things that you might need. You can order strollers, you can order coolers, you can order birthday cakes, all sorts of things at vacationgrocerydeliveryfl.com. Just make sure you place your order at least 3 days before you need that order delivered, and they can help you with that. They have a special watery delivery option for $4.49. Now, here are the fees: $25 delivery fee plus 5% service fee. A $20 activation fee applies, but it will be refunded after you place your order and you pay. Use the promo code DISMORNINGS with an S for $5 off any grocery order or $10 off any 2 items on the Magical Extras. That's Vacation Grocery Delivery FL.com. Landon, as a radio professional, how do you feel I do on the ad reads? Am I doing okay?
You do good. Yeah. You're growing into it. It sounds better each week.
Thanks. I appreciate that. It's new to me. I'm considering making it like something I record on the side so I don't have to just say it every time. But we'll see. More to come on that. But until we get to the future of the podcast, we've got to get to the Walt Disney World headlines of the week. So, Landon, let's dive into the news. That's right, my friends, my family, dreamers. It's time for the headlines from the Walt Disney World Resort, and we have gathered them for you. If you'd like to read along, you can visit DizMornings.com. Don't forget, this podcast is part of the Diz Mornings Network, and there's a lot of media that goes along with that. You can find everything at DizMornings.com. You can also fill out a form if you're interested in traveling to the Walt Disney World Resort, Universal. Maybe you want to go on a Disney cruise. Steffers and Nate can help you out. Fill out the form, and they'll be in touch with you, and we can make that happen. But let's help you plan that vacation a little bit better by talking about the news. And I'm going to start with the biggest headline of all. Landon,
oh boy,
I know you're going to be talking about this on the radio on Monday, so let's get ready for it right now. And I don't know whether we should go the misinformation way or tell the truth. Let's stick with the facts here. And I'm just going to say, fire! No. That is not the Library of Alexandria you're smelling. That is Epcot. Epcot is on fire, ladies and gentlemen. It's burning to the ground. No, it's not. It's not. It's not on fire.
Yeah, no.
There was a fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
No one was injured. It was not in a guest area. There was a cooler that caught fire backstage behind the France Pavilion, but you would have thought that the whole park was going to burn down. And we are not in the podcast business of trying to get like headlines. We're not trying to do those breaking news, Epcot is on fire and everyone's running for their lives. Clickbait. We're not clickbait.
No, we are not clickbait.
We're going to tell you the truth. But this was all
So we did do Bear Watch a couple years ago.
Oh,
remember?
we did.
Yeah,
we did. But this was all over the socials yesterday. If you're on TikTok, if you're on Blue Sky, Twitter, you would have seen this. The funniest one I saw was, Peter Noon was performing yesterday as part of the Flowering Garden Rocks Festival. And during the concert, he actually stopped the show and he was like, "Oh, look, France is on fire." So that was pretty good. But yes, it was a cooler backstage. It was a big fire. I mean, you could see the smoke. I'm not trying to downplay fire. Fire is dangerous. There were big plumes of smoke that were coming, but it was backstage. The local fire department responded. No injuries were reported. And after they got the fire extinguished, the guest areas opened back up and there were no problems. But man, oh man, Landon, I know, just how prepared are you on Monday? Are you going to be hearing all the people call in asking, did Epcot burn down? What are you going to do about living with the Landon now?
I mean, the timing could not have been better. You talked about some of the clickbait headlines. I mean, the one that stands out in my mind, and I'm not going to give this outlet any shout out because I do not like this outlet. I think their outlet was breaking massive deadly fire at Epcot. I'm like, are you kidding me? That is not only clickbait, that is egregious. That is libelous, in my opinion. But the reason I know I'm going to be talking about this at work is, I mean, like, I'm on the radio. Everybody knows I'm the Disney guy. And to your point, I am going down to Epcot 1 week from tomorrow to do a ride at Epcot over and over again. At I think 12:15 in the morning, my mom texts me, "Epcot on fire," with like 5 exclamation points. I'm like, oh no, this is gone outside of the Disney bubble. So I'm fully expecting I'm going to have to tell Phil, my host, yeah, that's right. The Epcot ball, it exploded. There were no survivors. One of the dinosaurs broke out of containment on It's a Small World and ate a boat of guests. Be like, actually, no, none of that happened. It was backstage. It was what a cooler caught fire. Nobody was hurt, and it was put out.
Right.
But to your point, we can't downplay the seriousness of fire, because fire is dangerous. It's one of the elements of Mother Nature, and Mother Nature is awe-inspiring and terrifying all at the same time.
True.
And it is a powerful force. We have to take it seriously, and it was responded to seriously. The cast members took care of people in the area. They cleared it out, and it was the fire was put out, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
But it's kind of disgusting seeing these clickbait, almost ambulance chasing websites, how they went after this. They saw fire and ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't care about getting it right.
No.
They just saw fire, and it's like, oh, well, here we go. We're going to get 100,000 clicks on it because people are going to hear Disney's on fire, and we can say whatever we want to. No, you can't.
You know what's funny is all that used to be isolated to just a couple of outlets, and it's expanded to some of the other ones where they do this clickbaity, like rage farming or just emotion farming headlines that they know they're going to get people to click on. I don't want to mention any of them either, but this one in particular that's been posting a lot of this stuff lately, it makes it even worse because the name of their outlet is related to food, but they post all this other, I'm like, stick to food. You need to just stick to food and stop all this other nonsense.
And it used to not be that way.
I know. I don't know what's happening.
Like what is and you talk about they want rage farming, they want emotion. Maybe we're playing into it by vaguely talking about it. But I mean, like again, borderline libelous in my opinion.
Yeah.
What like particularly that headline that I talked about, calling it a massive deadly fire. Right. Deadly. That implies somebody lost their lives in this fire. Breaking news, nobody got hurt, let alone died in this fire.
Exactly. It's all good. Let's settle down, people. Also, let me just say to our listeners, because I think we have good listeners that don't like buy into this kind of stuff. But I will say, if you and I'm not trying to shame anybody for doing such a thing, because maybe you don't realize, but like if you see those kinds of headlines like on Blue Sky, Twitter, wherever you may be, just don't retweet them. Don't call attention to them because it's driving traffic to those. Even if you're trying to retweet it and say, look how stupid this headline was, people are going to click on that, and that's what they want. So just don't direct people to it, and maybe that stuff will stop. But anyways.
And also another piece of tip, that's not a phrase. A tip. When you see a headline that you think that can't be true, more often than not, it's not going to be true. And if you see a headline that is so out there, maybe get another source. I come from a journalism background. The rule of thumb is always get two sources before you run with something.
Mm-hmm.
Get two sources before you assume something is true.
Yeah, and hopefully they're not two of the bad ones. That's all.
And always consider your sources. To Jay's point, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Jay, I don't know, but about you, but after that, I feel like I need a drink. But thankfully, Epcot has a new drink offering coming because Geo 82, the Spaceship Earth Lounge, is coming to Epcot, but you must be this old to experience it coming in spring of 2025, because Epcot is set to welcome Geo 82, a new adults-only lounge opening later this year. This new space will offer a sophisticated setting for guests 21 and older, featuring innovative cocktails, globally inspired small plates, and impressive park views. The lounge design draws inspirations from Epcot's iconic Spaceship Earth, the Epcot ball, my girl. Inside, guests will find a mix of rich textures and warm metallic tones, blending with the geometric patterns that reflect the park's signature aesthetics. This intimate setting aims to provide a relaxed yet upscale atmosphere for unwinding after a day at Epcot. Reservations are required, and once again, this is an adults-only space. Off the top of my head, is this one of, if not the only adult-only areas in the parks?
In the parks, yes. I can't think of another. It would be the only 21 and up place in the parks, which is actually really kind of cool, to be honest.
I think it's cool, but on the flip side, if you're that what was it, the family of four from Utah that that Bobby Chaps talked about. If you're that family from four, mom and dad might want to go up to GO82, but unless you feel comfortable with Jimmy and Johnny Utah running around on their own for a little bit in Epcot, mom and dad might not be able to experience GO82. So for me and you, it's like, I think this is a really cool addition to not only Epcot, but to the Walt Disney World parks, an adult only spot where you can kind of sit down, relax, unwind, and not have to worry about a little bunch of crash goblins running around, yelling and screaming in your face.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I do feel for families that are traveling down with their kids, they might not be able to experience GO82, because this does sound like a cool spot, especially if you're a honk like me for your girl, the Epcot ball.
Yeah. I guess they could have taken the Trader Sam's approach and done, like, you know, say after 8 o'clock, adults only or something like that. But I guess it would have had to be earlier because the park usually closes at like 9 or 10. Yeah. But I will say, of all the parks to have a 21 and up location, Epcot to me is the least offensive to do that, because you can get a drink about anywhere in the park.
Yeah.
And there are other lounges that adults could take their, if they wanted to, could take their kids to. So, like, yes, I agree. It is limiting, but it's also sort of a good thing. It's like on the Disney cruise ships, there are areas that are for adults only, and that's one of the nice aspects of like the Disney cruise ship. You can get that Disney experience, but then you can also get away from it for a few minutes, and if you need to. And so this is, I'm excited. And you know, when we first started talking about this, we were all excited about it. We were speculating, is it going to be walk up, reservation? Well, now we know for sure it's reservation required. I would say that, just like other places where reservations required, you probably could walk up and see, do you have availability? Like, for example, Oga's Cantina is reservations required, but you can see if walk up is available. I bet this place is going to be high demand. So, and it's it's not huge either. It's a decent sized space, but it's going to fill up. Now my question is, similar to Oga's, is it going to be a 45-minute time limit?
Oh, I hope not. I hope not, because I feel like one of the selling points of GO82 is going to be able to go in there and just sit down and drink in the view. But at the same time, if that's one of the selling points, I feel like a lot of people are going to go up there and just park for an hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours. And then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, we've spent half our day in Epcot in GO82. Isn't that fun? And then it's like, oh, we can't flip this table because the Johnsons from Utah just decided to set up camp here. So I hadn't thought about that. There really might be a time limit. I hope it's not 45 minutes, because you mentioned Oga's, and Oga's is the only, I guess, experience like this that does have a time limit off the top of my head. But Oga's, I think, is more of a gimmick / experience than it is a restaurant / bar, if I'm being completely honest, where I feel like GO82 is going to be more of a bar / restaurant than it is an experience. Does that make sense?
Yes. However, I will say, if you're a person who decided, oh, this is going to be a great spot to watch the fireworks, you're going to make a reservation at, like, I don't know, 6 o'clock, and just hang out there. And then you're going to take up like that window seat for like 2.5 hours just so you can watch the fire. So I could see, because in the vein of when Tron was virtual queue, and people would say, like, the cast members were instructed, you have to show up during your window. You can't show up later, because people wanted to ride it at night. This is going to be an ideal spot to watch fireworks. So I would imagine they're going to be strict about, like, there's going to be a time limit. It may not be 45 minutes, but I think there will be.
They're going to sell this as part of a dining package for fireworks.
I bet they absolutely could.
Yeah, they're definitely going to. You mentioned those window seats, prime viewing for fireworks. They're going to sell those.
Yeah. So watch out for more news on that. But I fully expect, I don't want it to be, but I'm putting my money on there will be a time limit in this place.
I hadn't even thought of that until you mentioned it. But yeah, that now feels like an inevitability, unfortunately. And I am curious. They didn't mention it, so this makes me feel like they won't be going in this direction. I know, what is it? Space 220. You have to have a reservation, but you can see if you can walk up to the bar. I am curious if Geo82 will have something similar like that. You have to have a reservation, but you can walk up to a bar. The fact that they don't mention that makes me wonder if that's going to be an option. But
Yeah.
like you said, this isn't a large space, so maybe that won't be an option. We'll just have to see.
Yeah. So more to come for sure. But it's exciting. Another place to kind of get away from the heat, get away from the noise, and take a little break. And speaking of that, the Magic Kingdom just got a new little hideaway, but this one's specifically for DVC members. The new McKim's Mile House DVC Lounge has opened at Disney's Magic Kingdom Park, located in Frontierland. The new member exclusive space welcomed guests for the first time this past week. The hours are going to be 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. And basically, to enter, DVC members must present a valid membership card and matching photo ID at check-in. Seating is first come, first served, no reservations at this place, and no automatic re-entry is permitted. So once you leave, you've got to go back through the check-in process all over again. There's no advanced reservations, no virtual queue. Members, I wanted to mention this to all my DVC friends out there. Members can bring up to 4 guests. I'm just one man, so I could be one of those 4 guests.
Subtle.
Tom, Michelle, wink, wink. I'm looking at you.
They
Inside,
can't see you wink. It's an audio. Well, maybe they're watching us on YouTube, and you mentioned you have to have a matching name and ID if they're watching on YouTube. We're kind of matchy with our gray Tennessee hats on.
That's
Go
right.
Vols. Yeah.
That's right. By the way, go listen to Tom and Michelle, Hyperion Adventure podcast. They're wonderful. They're great people.
Mhm.
Go, and they're on YouTube as well. By the way, he's sticking to his Hyperion Adventure morning drop-in. He does a little dose of positivity every morning on their socials and on their YouTube. So go check out Tom and his morning dose of positivity, Hyperion Adventures podcast. Go check it out.
The world could use a daily dose of positivity, especially in the morning when you're waking up and wondering, what wonderful waking hellscape am I walking into today?
Exactly.
Thanks,
Well,
Tom.
yeah, so Tom's there to help out a little bit. And for this non-solicited plug, maybe you take me to McMinn's Mile House, Tom.
A little quid for that pro quo, baby.
But yes, members can bring up to 4 guests. Inside, guests can relax with comfortable seating that you can enjoy complimentary soft drinks from a Coke Freestyle machine. I thought those were going away. And connect to Wi-Fi, which hopefully is better than just the general Disney Parks Wi-Fi, because that sucks.
It's DVC Wi-Fi. It has to be better.
And then you can request, if you don't have them with you, you can request charging cords on a first come, first served basis. DVC member services advisors are also available to assist with member related questions. So this is very cool. This is the first DVC lounge in the Magic Kingdom. You know, Epcot already has one. It's up in the Imagination Pavilion, the second floor of the Imagination Pavilion. I've come close to getting to visit that a few times, but every time I've gone, there's been a long wait, and the people that I'm with are like, we can wait if you want to. And I'm like, no, it's okay. We can do something else. So we move on. But it's exciting, and now I'm curious, will the Animal Kingdom get its own DVC lounge? We know there's a Club 33 in the Animal Kingdom, but maybe it'll get a DVC lounge, and maybe Hollywood Studios will. I don't know. Maybe each park will have their own. But for now, Epcot and Magic Kingdom have them, and I'd love to check them out, is all I'm saying. So... Yeah,
I don't think I realized until we were going through this story that as of now, Epcot and now Magic Kingdom are the only parks that have a DVC lounge in them. I would have thought, for what you're paying to be a DVC member, all the parks would have a spot where you can go hang out.
Yeah, maybe eventually. But it's cool that they've added. I hate that we lost the shooting arcade, but
yeah. They're taking away something that was available to everybody, and they're roping it off to people that are already giving them a little bit of Disney dollary dues. But I mean, if you're paying that, you kind of deserve to have a little something, if you know what I'm saying.
I think so. Did you see the videos of it, by the way? It looks really nice.
I have not seen the videos. The only thing I've seen of it was the concept art when it was originally announced, way back in the day. So not way back in the day, but you know what I mean.
It looks pretty close to the concept art, but it looks really nice. I mean, it's well themed to Frontierland. tables throughout that do have like charging stations built into the tables, and then there's nods to the lore of Frontierland all through the lounge that you could take a look at, and
Okay.
it's really cool.
Well, cool. I'm glad that they're leaning into their history of what came before it and giving it some theming as opposed to just making it feel like the lobby of a Ramada Inn or something
Hmm.
like that. J- Jay, it has been a hot minute since we got to talk about something that I waxed so poetic about during the Does Disney's days, and that is the Reedy Creek Improvement District. And in honor of that, your boy needs a fresh beer because, God
Well, this is good news, I
bless.
think.
It is good news, but just mentioning those four words, it's like PTSD. But this is good news. The Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, formerly known as the Reedy Creek Improvement District, just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? They're actually supporting the Brightline train expansion from MCO, the international airport in Orlando that most of us fly into, to Disney Springs. The CFTOD Board of Supervisors is set to meet next Friday, and the agenda list is an item to support the proposed Sunshine Corridor train project that would connect the Orlando International Airport, otherwise known as MCO, to Disney Springs and beyond. The agenda item is listed as, quote, approve authorizing the district administrator to negotiate the terms of and execute an agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation, FDOT, providing $500,000 in district support of the Sunshine Corridor project development and environmental study, end quote. Yes, to your point, Jay, this is a good move from those people. My opinion of those people. But if they actually do pull this off and it is actually completed, I
Mhm.
think this would be a step in the right direction. I made reference to sometimes some long, painful, awkward ride shares from MCO to my resort at the top of this show. I would gladly sign up for a Brightline train ride from MCO to Disney Springs, and then from Disney Springs I could hop to my resort.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
maybe if I'm in Disney Springs, me and Smoking Hot Girlfriend want to head over to Wine Bar George, or, get a bite to eat at Jock Lindsay or somewhere else. We're already in the Disney bubble. We might as well start spending those Disney dollary dues.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think this is great. One thing I think about is you're going to have people riding that train with a lot of luggage. So
Yep.
I wonder if the terminal, if it connects to Disney Springs like they're hoping, and I'm hoping because I think that would be awesome. Will they have like some sort of temporary luggage storage so you could go spend your Disney dollary dues at Wine Bar George? Um, I'm hoping that that would be an option, but otherwise, you will from there hop on a bus and go to your resort or wherever it may be. You could do a lift from there. You could do a minivan from
Mm-hmm.
there to go wherever you wanted to go. And I will say the Brightline train, I haven't gotten to experience myself, but Casey has. She's actually done a couple trips from Orlando to Miami and back, and she really loves it. I mean, my only criticism is they call it a high speed train. It if you drive to Miami from here, it's about 4 hours. The train takes about that long too. But the difference is, um, instead of flying, I've always heard that the experience is so seamless to use the Brightline. Like you go to MCO, you're expecting an airport sort of experience, and it's really not that at all. You get to show up like 20 minutes before your train time. You get to like step like it's just so seamless and easy. And then you get the fun of like riding a train. And listen, we're the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. Of course, we love trains. We love choo-choos. So I think this is really cool. And the thought of, I think there's supposed to be a stop like near the convention center, which would essentially be a stop for Universal. And then this would be the second stop at Disney Springs. And then the idea is eventually to connect to Tampa. The thought of having a train from Tampa to Miami that, like, if that's something we wanted to do, is like a nice, unique way to kind of like get around the state where we're not just driving in the car everywhere. So,
Mm-hmm.
I like that, and I hope that it gets done. I know this is probably years down the road, but I think it's a good option, especially for people who miss the Magical Express. It's not going to be free, but I don't think you'd break the bank on a trip from MCO to Disney Springs either. So something to look forward to for sure.
Well, and you did mention it. This is probably years, several years down the pike, because we don't have a timetable on this, and just this being on the agenda doesn't reference a timetable
Yeah.
for this project. But I mean, yeah, we are the monorail, and I'm a fan of any sort of mass transit. I mean, I've gone on vacations to cities like New York, Chicago, even to a lesser extent Atlanta, that have mass transits built into its infrastructure. And it is, once you figure out how to use it, it is so nice to be able to use that as opposed to driving around everywhere or using a ride share everywhere. You can save so much money. And plus, I mean, it lessens your carbon footprint as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully this does come to fruition whenever it does come to fruition, because this could be a very nice addition to your Disney experience or your Universal experience, to your point with the stop near the convention center.
Absolutely. Yeah, something to look forward to in the future. And as we know, we've got a lot of stuff to look forward to in the future for the Walt Disney World Resort because a lot has been announced. We're going to get into some comments from Bob Iger at the recent Walt or Disney Corporation shareholder meeting. Before we do that, we're going to take a little break. We'll be right back to talk about Bob Iger's comments and also respond to the weekly Monday Morning Monorail fam question that you all chimed in on. We'll have all that and more when we come back with the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. Welcome back to the Monorail. It's Justin Monorail. It's Landon the Doane, and we're here to wrap up today's episode of the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. Landon, last week, Bob Iger addressed the shareholders of the Disney Corporation, and there were a few things that he talked about, a few specific topics that I really just wanted to touch on as part of that shareholder meeting. We had talked on a previous show about how expensive it is to travel to Walt Disney World and the fact that there were several articles. I think New York Times, there was a Motley Fool article. There was a couple others that came out all around the same time, just talking about how expensive Disney has gotten and how much of a financial burden it is to try to take a family to Walt Disney World. And Disney's response at the time was to issue a statement that basically said, yeah, but you're getting what you pay for, a lifetime of unforgettable memories. And that's really all they said. Oh, and by the way, we haven't raised the tickets prices at Disneyland. Yes, but you did in Florida. Anyway.
Yeah. And I think they also, have you thought about not being poor?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just stop doing that. Yeah.
Maybe a Disney trip isn't for you if you don't think your children's memories are worth it.
Right? Yeah. It's a banana, Michael. How much can it cost?
So anyway, it did come up as part of the shareholder meeting, and Bob Iger, I mean, as CEO, as you would expect, like basically just stayed on message. His response was, consumer demand for our parks and resorts product is extremely high. And he added the parks continue to offer value when compared to other entertainment options. The value, in fact, is tremendous, particularly when you compare it to other forms of entertainment like sporting events and concerts. I'm not sure, Bob. I know Ticketmaster is like taking us all to the cleaners when we try to go see Taylor Swift, okay? But I'm just saying, like, come on, that's a bit of a stretch. He also said Disney continues to explore ways to improve accessibility for budget-conscious guests. We provide several options for families looking to spend less, including our lowest price ticket to Disneyland, which we've kept at the same level since before the COVID pandemic. He also noted that since his return as CEO 2 years ago, Disney tripled the number of days that this lower priced ticket is available. Iger closed the question by saying that Disney parks continue to receive strong guest satisfaction ratings and positive intent to visit scores. Quote, our parks remain the most popular offering in the industry and a solid growth business for the company as we continue to introduce new experiences, end quote. Bob Iger staying on message, towing the company line, saying, look, if you want to have a great time, you want your kids to have a happy childhood, you're going to pay these prices. I mean,
technically, I guess he's not wrong. If people do want to come to Disney parks, they're still enjoying themselves, but that doesn't change the question, the issue that he was asked about, and that is the costs to get in the dang park. Once you're inside, once you've already held your nose, opened your wallet, and handed over your hard-earned money, yeah, sure, you're gonna have a good time, but there's still a high point of entry to experience this great experience. I know I said experience like 9 times. That Bob is touting and showing off.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's like the I think you should leave. It's like, oh my God, who crashed this hot dog car into the store? And the guy in the hot dogs is like, we're all trying to find the guy who did this. It's like, really?
Well, but even they're not denying it. That's the difference. Like, they're not denying. They're basically saying they're justified in their prices because demand is high and guest satisfaction and intent to visit is high. So when you have high demand and you have high guest satisfaction, why would you lower prices? Is essentially what they're saying.
Yeah, and I mean it's not a charity, it's a business, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, I know I just said it's a charity, or it's not a charity, rather, it's a business, but at the same time, some of these prices are borderline gouging, I feel like.
Yeah, you're talking on peak days. It costs you $200 for a single day ticket to enter the park.
That's gross.
I mean, who can, if you are a family of median income with 2 kids and you're traveling from Utah or wherever it is, you're probably going to get and you're obviously they're trying to still steer you towards multi-day tickets.
Mhm.
But you can't tell me that price is affordable for most people. Like we said, people go into debt to visit Disney. People use their credit cards. They save up in a lot of cases and spend a whole lot of money to do this.
Mhm.
And sure, they love it. They want to make the most of it, but you would think there has to be a point where it either flattens out or they start to maybe find other ways to build in value. I guess, you could say, well, a way to save money is visit on non-peak times, stay at a value resort or off property. And like we said, use what is it called? Our affiliate, Vacation Grocery Delivery FL.com,
Mhm.
to get your food. But sure, there are ways to do that. But the pressure, especially when you are not a person who visits a lot, maybe this is a once every 10 years kind of visit for you and your family, is to not skimp on the experience. You want to go to that high-end restaurant. You want to spend your money on souvenirs. And you want to stay at a nice resort. So anyways, it's just, we all have to make sacrifices and choices. I I just don't know. It feels the response just feels a little bit icky, but at least it's honest.
I'm sure, yeah, you got to give it to him for being honest, I suppose. But I mean, we made vague references to it last week, and I think we're going to reference it again this week when we get to our question of the week answers. The economy isn't exactly in a great spot, and a lot of families are having to make hard choices when it comes to the budget. And if Disney is just very, well, I mean, you get what you pay for, and everybody seems to like it once they get here. It's like that's not a great response, and it's like it instead of adding experiences for these high ticketed or these high price tickets, it seems like they're taking away experiences instead. But Disney is like, well, people still want to come, so we can get away with it. And I mean, to a certain extent, they're right, but at the same time, that doesn't make it feel great.
Right. Exactly. So.
But moving on, Bob Iger did talk about a myriad of other things when he was talking to the shareholders at the shareholder meeting. And one of those things is close to my heart, and that is my guy, Figment. Bob Iger talked about Figment when he was asked whether Disney would consider using Figment in other parts of the business. Iger shared his long history of hearing questions about the beloved purple dragon. Quote, "This is my 24th shareholder call, my 18th as CEO, and I think the question about Figment has been asked about 15 times. I call him good old Figment." Iger says, I don't know if he actually calls him good old Figment.
I don't know.
That's just me speculating. In response to the frequent interest in the character, Iger revealed that he plans to ask Disney's creative team to explore new projects featuring Figment. Quote, "I'll tell you why. I've been asked this so many times that I'm going to ask our creative teams to consider making some form of series or short form videos of Figment," end quote. And then he said, quote, because obviously he's more popular than just a walk around character in our parks and resorts, end quote. I am of, well, I like the fact that he is acknowledging the popularity of Figment, and he realizes he's not just a mascot for the festivals at Epcot that you could slap on merchandise and it'll sell. And I do like the fact that he realizes he's, in his words, more popular than just a walk around character. But I'm curious what he says in new projects, and then he cites short form videos. That's where you go. I don't.
That was my thought too.
What?
He's like,
short form videos.
He's like, you all love Figment so much. Here, have some short form videos. Like, that seems like the least they can do.
We're gonna give him a YouTube series. Gonna be Figment doing unboxings.
Yeah.
You like mukbangs? Figment's gonna do those now.
Oh,
by the way, that's not a dirty thing. It just sounds dirty.
It does sound dirty. No, he's going to join the Costco guys. He's going to be like, you know what? I give that.
Bring the boom.
I give that 5 big sparks. Spark.
As long as he doesn't team up with the Paul brothers, then I'm out on Figment.
Yeah. So,
like that's your go-to, man.
It feels a little bit like not exactly what we're looking for. You know, it's like.
Again, going back to what he said about high ticket prices, it's like I thanks for acknowledging it, I suppose, but that's like maybe tighten up his attraction first. How about that?
That's the thing we all want. All of us are standing back here going, okay, thanks, but like, what about the ride? Like, you've got a ride, fix it. We love Figment. We will ride the ride because it's what we have, but it could be so much better, and you know this. So. We did get a Figment comic there for a while. There were
briefly.
There were rumors there was going to be a Seth Rogen created Figment movie.
I had forgotten about that.
Yeah,
I think Disney has forgotten about that too.
Everybody forgot about that. Yeah, short form videos.
Really? And I know I said they've given me a YouTube series. We know it's going to be buried somewhere on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Absolutely. You know what? It's interesting. It could very much be like when they did what was it called? Muppets Now, that they did during COVID on Disney Plus, where it was like all the Muppets were showing up on video calls talking to each other and they had those little segments. Do you remember that?
That was a buried memory until you mentioned it.
Yeah.
I had completely forgotten about that.
Again, it sort of felt like, oh, you love Muppets so much. Here, enjoy this, you idiots.
I think that was Bob Iger's quote from that year's shareholder meeting. Yeah.
Yeah. But I liked Muppets Now, if that was what it was called. I think so. I think a lot of people didn't love it. But again, you've got this property that's beloved. At least I think Bob Iger understands that there's some value here. I don't think Chapek ever did. So
yeah, that's true.
A little bit of something's better than nothing. And maybe it leads to something else. I don't know. But thinking about the future, thinking about Disney parks, additions, expansions, renovations, the thing, and you already teed this up, Landon, the economy is sort of hanging over our heads. The questions about, are we heading to a recession? We're seeing some flags, some markers that tell us that maybe we are. We don't know what's going to happen. You can only speculate, although the Fed just announced they're keeping rates flat, which is not a good sign. Inflation is starting to like come back up again. So you have to worry, is the country heading towards economic recession? And if that's the case, what's going to happen to all these plans that were rolled out at D23? What's going to happen to Cars Land, Villains Land? What's going to happen to Monsters Inc. Land? All these wonderful, beautiful ideas, big ideas, and some of the other things too at other parks. But of course, we're focused on Walt Disney World. So Bob Iger did sort of address this somewhat. It wasn't necessarily in the context of against a recession, but he did provide an update on the ongoing park projects previously announced for Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disneyland Paris. This was a pre-recorded segment. but he was in the Walt Disney Imagineering headquarters in California, and Iger began by noting Disney's significant investment in its theme park business. He said, "Right now, we have more projects underway around the world than at any other time in our history. At Walt Disney World, Iger revisited several projects that had been announced during previous D23 presentation. The Magic Kingdom's expansion, the park's largest to date, will include a Cars-themed area and a Villains-themed land. Disney's Hollywood Studios will see the addition of Monsters Inc. themed land, while Disney's Animal Kingdom is progressing with the Tropical Americas expansion, featuring experiences based on Encanto and Indiana Jones." Now, in this pre-recorded message, you could take away from, okay, so they're still talking about these things. Obviously, they're moving forward. I I think that at this point they would have to say that. But I'm just going to say I don't know that I necessarily buy that we're going to get everything that was sold in concept art. And I don't know that maybe there's certain things that don't just get outright axed. That's my fear. And so we kind of teed this up a couple weeks ago, and we did ask the Monorail fam. We opened up a question of the week to the Monorail fam, and I put it on Facebook. I put it in the Discord. And the question I asked was, understanding that we may be entering a period of economic recession for the United States, what Walt Disney World project is most at risk if the U.S. economy enters a period of recession? So, Landon, I'll ask you, do you want to sound off on this before we get to the family member responses, or do you want to hold off and have kind of the final thoughts?
I'll have my final thoughts, though. I'm just going to say we have the best listeners in the podcasting game. I think a lot of our listeners are going to pretty much say exactly what I have to say, but I'll save my piece at the end.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's start with Paul. Paul sounded off on the Monday Morning Monorail Fam Facebook group. Paul, we love you. Thanks for chiming in here. He said, Muppets Rock and Roller Coaster. Now, this one hurts me a little bit but you know what? It sort of makes sense depending on the timing of when they wanted to do the retheme and add the Muppets to the Rock and Roller Coaster. This could be a very easy thing to say, oh, we're just not going to do that because it's already a ride that's working. It's, so you don't have to change anything at all.
A ride that they put money into not that long ago to refurb the track, if you remember.
Yeah, exactly. And, oh, man, it really pains me to think about that because...
How about this? Let me soften the blow.
Okay.
This thought did cross my mind. What if Muppet Vision 3D gets a stay of execution because of all this?
That's a good point. That's possible. So we know right now Muppets is supposed to be open until June, the Muppets Courtyard. That's possible. And if that happens, then fine. But
because, I mean, to your point, Rock and Roller Coaster is an attraction that is currently running that people go and ride. Muppet Vision, you could say the same thing. And yeah. I was going to say, I know for a fact, I'm a stupid idiot podcaster, so I don't know this for a fact, but I feel pretty confident in speculating ever since people learned that Muppets Vision has an impending doom. I'm willing to bet that a lot more people have gone out of their way to go visit Muppet Vision, quote unquote, one more time, or made it an effort to do that attraction while they still can. Yeah. So I'm like people are still going to both of these attractions. So, I mean, Disney might just be like, well, we don't know what our budget's going to look like going forward. So let's just keep on keeping on, so to speak.
I guess the implication there would be they wouldn't be able to do the Monsters Inc. stuff if they're not closing Muppet Vision. But who knows? I mean, maybe it's something they just put on hold indefinitely. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of the question of what we're asking.
Yeah.
Paul, great answer. You are my favorite member of the Monorail fam. Just like Rob. Rob is also my favorite member of the Monorail fam. He says, extending the monorail and the Skyliner to Animal Kingdom, still hoping. Rob, keep hoping. Like you, it's kind of egregious that Animal Kingdom's only mode of transportation is still buses at this point. Like Animal Kingdom is on property, but really is it on property if you think about the layout of everything else? It feels
isolated. Yeah.
It really does. It feels like you're going to a completely different part of Florida, which maybe that's by design. Maybe they want you to feel like you're going on some like safari in a land far, far away. But I mean, like, yeah, Animal Kingdom is very much off doing its own thing when it comes to the other three parks and hell, the resorts too. I mean, but that would be cool if I think the Skyliners are more likely than the monorail to
Yeah,
get extended. But I mean, even then, like extending the Skyliners would be a quite the undertaking, so to speak.
yeah.
But that would be dope.
It's
That would be dope.
also extremely far away. It would be the longest run of the Skyliner,
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
like it's because right now the legs of the Skyliner aren't that long. But if you string it all together and go like Epcot to Riviera and then to Caribbean Beach, that's your longest route. But there is the stop in the middle at the Riviera. But that takes, I don't know, 15 minutes, I think, at most. I think that ride from I guess where would you start it? Maybe it would have to be the hub, maybe Caribbean Beach. Um,
Yeah.
and then to go to the Animal Kingdom, I think that'd be like a 20-minute, 25-minute Skyliner ride. It'd just be a long way. I
That would
would
be
love it.
yeah, that would be a Skyliner ride where it's like, hey, maybe you want to buy a snack on your way
Yeah.
there before you get on. Hit the concession stand. Yeah.
Listen, I'm for it because I love the Skyliner, but I think there'd have to be some consideration. Like, do they put a stop at the McDonald's on the way?
Yeah, that's one of the stops that slowly lowers you down and you go through the drive-through.
Yeah. Oh, that would be incredible.
Okay, I love this idea. Let's make this happen.
Yeah. So anyway, that I love it too, Rob. But first of all, that wasn't announced, and second of all, I don't think it's happening. Um,
Yeah, you
all
are right. I think Rob's playing fast and loose with this game, and I love it.
All right. So speaking of people who play fast and loose with the rules, we got Jeremy weighing in over here. Jeremy of Main Street Magic. He says, "I feel like there's enough moving parts already that Monsters and Tropical Americas are safe, though we could see major delays. I think Cars is safe too, but again, it's going to take a long time. I will not believe Villains Land is real until I'm walking through it. So that's most likely to get cut overall, in my opinion." Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I think
Mhm.
we've already seen permits filed for like some of the work for Cars Land. Also, similarly for Tropical Americas, that's moving forward. I'm not sure they've actually started doing much for Monsters yet, but it seems the next thing on the list. So yeah, I think that's a decent speculation there, Jeremy. Thank you for listening, by the way, and check out Main Street Magic. Jeremy and Rhonda do a great job as well. Good friends, and thanks for being part of the Monorail family, Jeremy.
Yeah, good stuff from good people over there. Jeremy, my favorite member of the Monorail family, just like Cocktail Bob, who weighs in saying, Cars Land for sure. I think this has a possibility of change regardless of economic issues. Also, I see big delay in Villains Land. Particularly on the Villains Land issue. I'm going to go ahead and say that, like, I'm going to echo what Jeremy says. I think, like I'm not going to believe Villains
Yeah.
Land is a thing until they start, like, what is it, moving dirt? Isn't
Moving
that
dirt,
their new fun catchphrase that they like to throw around? And especially now that it does seem like that the economy is getting ready to head into the tank, there is a very good chance that Villains Land is going to join the ranks of the Mary Poppins ride.
That's all new lore right there.
Yeah, suck it, JK. I'm gonna write my own wizard book. The Mary Poppins ride in Epcot, and it's just gonna be one of those things that they talked about. It's like, oh, wouldn't that be cool? And then it never comes to fruition. Villains Land, and especially since that wasn't on a timeline, and everything else that they announced kind of was, and we kind of had a vague reference of when we were going to get it. If you're holding your breath for Villains Land, I might have some bad news for you. But
Yeah.
Good answer from Cocktail Bob, who is my favorite member of the Monorail fam.
By the way, he also submitted a response to our bracket, and I think he's the only one who officially submitted a response. So thank you, Bob, for participating in the bracket. Everybody else, I hope you enjoyed the show. We had a great time doing it, but we didn't get any other brackets. So I don't thank you for that. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine.
Wow, shade being thrown by Papa Monorail. I love it. Salty J is my favorite J.
All right, let's hop over to the Discord. This is another option for those of you who want to interact with the Monorail family on a weekly basis. We do have a Discord server. Brianna. Have I never said that out loud? Is it Brianna or Brianna? I think it's Brianna. She responded and she said, This doesn't really exactly answer the question. And then she said in parentheses, penalty box. Sorry, there's no penalty box anymore. Don't worry. But I
Yeah,
think,
haven't you seen the state of the world? There are no rules
yeah,
anymore.
but I think Disney is kind of screwed if several of their upcoming projects get canceled. Here's what she says. They've been reactive instead of proactive to Universal Orlando's moves for years, and it feels like their response to Epic Universe has been to close everything. If a recession hits and Disney can't move forward with the plans they had after closing everything, I think people are absolutely going to choose the shiny new Epic Universe over parks with their favorites closed. That will leave Disney not only with a bunch of closed attraction, but no means to replace them. I mean, that is the doomsday scenario that I think Disney is trying to avoid because Epic, the timing of Epic opening could not be more perfect for Universal. Because if there is an economic downturn, if well, that's already happened. If there's a recession and people are having to make choices about how they travel, absolutely they're going to say, "Well, we can go to Disney when things get better. Epic Universe just opened. Why don't we go do that this year?"
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't take a week to do it. We can go visit for a couple days, do Epic Universe, spend some time at Universal, have a long weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, absolutely people are going to be making that choice, and Epic is just now opening, and they're like, "Hey, we're wrapping everything now." I know they're doing sort of the test and adjust period for Epic Universe, so they're going to have to tweak things and they'll have to do some maintenance and things. But that park is essentially done at this point.
Yep.
So
And it's the new shiny toy too.
a whole park, not just a new ride.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Disney
He's not
has to
wrong.
be. Yeah,
He's
no,
not wrong.
no, and maybe because of that, Disney's like, listen, we got to bite the bullet on the cost. We have to open stuff.
And I mean, Iger did say they're spending what $60 billion in the parks over what the next 10 years.
Yeah,
I mean, like, maybe you're right. Maybe they say numbers be damned. We have to do this to keep up with the Joneses down the street because I mean, Brianna, Banana is right. I mean, like her answer is spot on. You call it a doomsday scenario. That might be a little hyperbolic, but at the same time, I think she kind of hit the nail on the head.
yeah, absolutely.
They need to open that Mary Potter ride. Great answer, Brianna, Banana. You are my favorite member of the Monorail family. Just like Main Street Electrical Arcade, who says Bob Iger's retirement
Is off the table now.
You know what? It really might be. He then drops a lull and says, given Iger's confirmation of everything still moving forward, my answer is his retirement is in jeopardy. Seems more likely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Iger stepped down, came back, and has now made all these bold proclamations. Maybe he wants to keep his hand firmly on the wheel of this ship for better or for worse.
Yeah.
During financial uncertainty, and maybe shareholders will want to have a familiar face during times of financial uncertainty.
Or
Familiarity, I mean, people like that.
maybe he takes another quote unquote break and they bring in another sacrificial lamb at CEO.
Yep. Yeah. He's looking at his board. It's like, all right, what sap can I pin this on now?
The next
Allegedly.
Chapek. You're going to get
Chapek.
Yeah. Oh, man.
He's
yeah.
like Palpatine. It's like, all right, what clone can I sacrifice now? Yeah. And somehow Bob Iger is returned. Yeah.
And he comes back again.
Yeah.
All right. We got one more response in the Discord. This one comes from Katrina. And Katrina says, I think both Villains Land and the Cars attraction are both at risk if a recession hits. Since ground hasn't moved yet, it would be easy for Disney to just push those off the way into the way future and not mention them again for years to come. They could just open the updated Big Thunder and call it a day. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Landon, that being said, I know, like you said,
by the way, Katrina's my favorite member of the Monorail fan.
She's great. That being said, now with all of our Monorail family weighing in, what are your thoughts about the impacts of a possible recession to the Walt Disney World parks?
I think the Encanto attraction and probably Indiana Jones are happening in Animal Kingdom, just because I mean construction is already underway. So I mean at this point it's like like them pulling the plug. It'd be like, all right, cool, come play in Dirtland. They're not gonna do that. So I feel confident those are happening. Um
Come play in Dirtland. I mean, you might as well.
Hey, you know what? That would be a way to open a new area. You would save money. Kids love to be dirty. You could get a corporate sponsor. I mean, Iger, are you listening? Disney presents Dirtland, only available at Animal Kingdom and in backyards everywhere. Presented by Nestle. Cars Land, I feel like is going to happen, question mark. But to Katrina's point, the fact that they haven't broke ground or whatever, and we still don't know the time frame on it, makes me less confident about the Encanto and Indy. Like I said, I don't think Villains Land happens at this point. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like I was already skeptical about it when we first talked about it being announced. I am less confident about it now. I have moved from, oh, that'd be cool if it happens, to I don't think it happens at this point.
Yeah, I have to say I'm with you. I think that's the biggest thing that's at risk. It was the most ambitious piece of all of this, and we knew it was the farthest out. And I feel like I'm going to give you credit because you've been saying from the beginning that you'll believe Villains Land when it actually you're there and you see it. You've been saying that from the start. So, and I have to agree. Like, I think if hard times hit the Walt Disney World Resort, if people stop traveling as much, if tariffs impact the construction costs, there's just absolutely no possibility right now in my mind that they start that project. And maybe it is something that, like, oh, they give it a couple of years, they think about it, and it just like, well, maybe we don't mention that to anyone.
Yeah,
and
they stopped bringing it up in their shareholder meetings, and somebody asked about it. It's like, oh, well, we got all this other stuff coming up. We just opened Monsters Land and Hollywood Studios. Isn't that cool? And speaking of, I know I said maybe Muppet Vision gets a stay of execution. I do think Monsters Land is going to, just because tariffs, I do think, will impact the bottom line when it comes to construction. But I feel like Disney has probably already purchased a decent amount of the materials for the construction and, unfortunately, demolition of Muppet Square into Monsters University campus.
Yeah. Well, so that's a double sad. Like, no Villains Land and Muppets goes away.
Right? Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
And I mean, to Paul's point, who knows what happens with the retheming of Rock and Roller Coaster?
Yeah, they're gonna have to bring in, maybe. Let's see, who's a cheap act they could probably get to just slap on there if they didn't want to pay Aerosmith anymore. Well, like, let's give a tip of the cap to Jeremy. Oh, Hoobastank. I was going to say Blue October.
There we go. Yeah.
Let's bring in Blue October.
Who was the guy that casually mentioned Francis? What, Paul Noon?
Peter
Noon?
Yeah, Peter Noon.
Yeah, Peter Noon. Yeah.
He can do it. Just him by himself. All right. Well, thanks to the Monorail family for sounding off once again. You all are, as always, the best listeners in the biz. But that wraps up another episode of the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. We need to wrap things up ourselves and get out of here because we've got March Madness to watch today. But before we get to that, Landon, let's talk a little bit more. Give us a little bit more a taste of living with the Landon, and then we'll get to your plugs.
Yeah, April 1st, I turn 40 years old, and to, I guess, celebrate that occasion, I'm heading down to Epcot, and I will be marathon riding Living with the Land from grand opening to grand closing, and I will be trying to raise money for Second Harvest Food Bank of East Tennessee, a food bank right here in East Tennessee that services 18 counties, and more particularly, I'm going to be raising money for their Food for Kids program, and I'm calling it Living with the Land, and I'm asking you, the lovely listener, to head to livingwiththelandon.com to fill out a pledge where for every, let's say, I ride it 15 times and you donate $10. Jay, how much would somebody then owe and pledge to Second Harvest Food Bank of East Tennessee?
I'm going to access my big brain. Let me calculating. Oh, it's $150.
Yep, that right there. It's that simple. So if you want to do that, pledge per ride, you can do that. If you just want to do a one-time donation to Second Harvest Food Bank of East Tennessee in the name of Living with the Landon, we have that option as well. But maybe you want to do one or both of those things and you want to look stylish while doing so, we also have official Living with the Landon merchandise available once again at livingwiththelandon.com for more information. Get in while you can, because I don't know how long that merchandise will be available after the event is over. We will be discussing that behind the scenes. So,
Okay.
get it while you can, baby. This might be a limited edition situation.
I think it will be.
Or I don't know. I just might leave it up because I like the design and they're comfy.
Yeah, check out livingwiththelandon.com. If you plan to join us for happy hour, I did post an event on the Facebook group. You don't have to necessarily respond if you feel like that's committing and maybe you can't do it. That's fine. You can just show up. We'll be at CityWorks 4 to 6 on Sunday, March the 29th. 5 days from when you're hearing this. 5, 4, 3, 2. No, I don't. Forget it.
Touchdown.
We're going to be there.
Off. Happy New Year. Also, it's March
30th. That's the problem I was having in my head. March 30th, Sunday, March 30th.
Dude, it's okay. Calendars are hard on Blue Sky. Yesterday, I said on a countdown accidentally that we're now doing it on April the 2nd. So
whoops.
Yeah, whoopsie. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be at Epcot the 1st, and we're gonna have a wonderful, wonderful day because it didn't burn down. Thank goodness.
Yay.
Landon, where can people find you on Blue Sky?
That'd be THEDOZ, Landon on Blue Ski, Landon Doane. I'm the best, Landon Doane, not the rest. Yeah, Zoe agrees. Thank you, Zoe. Follow me there. I try to have fun on my little corner of the internet, the social media scape. We like to talk about fun stuff like professional wrestling, movies, cartoons, Magic the Gathering. That's where I spend a lot of my disposable income on these days. I'm what you call bad with my money, but I also make that money on the Phil Show, News Talk 987, radio station locally here in in Knoxville, Tennessee. You can stream us online 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at newstalk987.com. Also available in the iHeartRadio app and the News Talk 987 app as well. But obviously I won't be on the week of my birthday. That would be March 31st through April 4th, 3rd, something. I'm going to be down in Orlando, Florida, celebrating my birthday, doing Living with the Landon. So if you are a local, come out, say hi, and I'll let you buy me a beer. How about that? Y'all are the best in the podcasting game when it comes to fans. I truly do mean that. Thank you for those who have pledged to Living with the Landon. You still have time to get in. We have about a week left. Collecting pledges for Second Harvest Food Bank of East Tennessee. And we got one more podcast before Living with the Landon. And I will talk to y'all next week. Breathe, have a little bit of fun. You can do both of those things. That would mean the world to me. Love you, mean it. Talk to y'all next week. Bye.
Wonderful. You can check out Steffers at Adventures with Steffers. She's got a YouTube channel. She's on Twitch. She's doing all the things, and she'll be back with us. We're going to have a live recording on the boardwalk that's going to come out next week on Monday. So look forward to that with some other especially we won't be under the boardwalk, hopefully.
No, hopefully.
But I'm Justin Monorail. You can usually find me Justin_Monorail on all the things. We are the Monday Morning Monorail podcast at Morning Monorail, and we love you all. You're the best listeners in the biz. We love doing this show, and we look forward to seeing whoever can make it out on Sunday or Tuesday of next week if you happen to be in Epcot. And until we either speak to you again or potentially see you, I would just love you to thank a team member, thank a cast member, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.